Okay, howdy traders. Welcome to TradeSetup in the live stream for the 4th of May. So we're getting on into the year. Things are going along nicely. We'll just take a look at a few things today. What obviously with the markets a bit of a pullback the last couple of days. We'll take a look at the indices and the major indices anyway, the ASX, the S&P, and a few other little bits and pieces, just to get an idea of where we're at. We've spoken about this a few times in the past, so we'll just go over it just to I guess clear the air a bit, and we might have a look at a couple of the sectors as well, the overall sectors. So I think I just had a bit of a look today, so a few of them are interesting anyway. So we've got a new little floating screen, what you can see on the page there. So for anyone new, we're on the live stream. We did have it up that we're on 12:30 each day, which was the case at the start, but we've just changed it because I think we were starting to get a bit. I'll probably just go over things a bit too much. So what we want to do is we're going to be doing it Mondays and Thursdays at 12:30. May look down the track. I know we've spoken about this in the past. Last week, doing one at night. If anyone's interested, just let us know. You can send an email to support@tradesetup.com.au. That may be I know a few people have expressed interest, and a few people said that they're happy to do it during the day. It fits in well. So just let us know. May chuck an extra one on, say on a Thursday night. Or maybe even Friday night or Monday. We'll pick a night one night and just see how it goes. Do another stream there. Also, I mentioned in the last couple of streams, we've got a meetup group for anyone that doesn't know. It's just something you can join, different groups, and they talk about different things. Sometimes there's presentations. We've got a meetup group that we've been running for a while now, and we're going to do a talk on Tuesday night. So this Tuesday coming at 7 p.m. So you should get a notification through the app. For anyone that's got the app, the TradeSetup app. If you haven't, you can go to the App Store on Apple, or is it Google Play on Android, and just download that app. It's called, just search for TradeSetup, and you download that, and you'll see any alerts coming up if we're doing any presentations. But you'll get one through that app, probably just before the time, saying we're going to go live. We're going to start streaming at 7 o'clock. So I know there's probably a few things that we will cover. But a lot of the times there's we're going to go over a bit that we haven't talked about probably in the past, and just really cover off things that we look at and why we look at it more, the psychology behind it, and we'll just go over that. So it's at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, and Davin will be in there having a bit of a chat too, so you get to hear him rather than myself. Excuse me, just having a touch of coffee. Yeah, that's it. So again, just a bit of housekeeping. We've got our general advice warning there. You can review there. We don't give any personal advice, just general advice on what we actually look up and the setups we're following. Join us on, Twitter, top left corner. Hook into us on Facebook, or just link in on I always forget what you call that, YouTube, down the bottom right-hand corner. Subscribe there, and you'll get, so anytime we actually go live through our YouTube, which is any type of streaming at all, if you haven't got a heads up through the app, it may be something different. You'll actually get a heads up through YouTube too. All right, let's get into it. We'll minimize that. What I'll do is get my pretty noggin on. I'm a bit more casual today, so just bear with me. We'll see how we go. There you go. I've got my casual top on, and I probably haven't done my hair quite as nice, so Dad would be proud of me. All right, so I'll get the giggles sometimes if you didn't notice. So let's kick it off with the market's down 30 at the moment. The US seems more to be in a bit of a holding pattern than anything else. Whereas we've come off the boil the last probably 100 points the last couple of days, or close to anyway. I think we're trading 59.50 thereabouts a day or two ago, and now we're down at 58.62 on the index on the 200. So we've really come off the boil a bit there. So I just read your comment there. Just come off the boil a bit, whereas the S&P is still hanging on those highs. It's not doing too bad. So I think really they're getting through their company reporting season. So there's still some good reports coming out, which I think is quite good. There's a lot of, I think the technology sector's doing okay. What is it? Apple last night Apple didn't hit the mark, but there's been a few others that have. Google done all right, I think. There's a few others there, and that's a major sector in the US. So yeah, we'll take a look at their index just to see what what we're following. But to start off with, we look at the ASX. Let's just get over that now. Now, actually, let's go to we'll go to the CFD. It just gives a bit more information, and we'll get to daily and the 30-minute charts. That's the 30-minute chart. I will start with the 30-minute chart. So you can see we've had that run up from 57.93, higher highs, higher lows. We run up into that 59.50 zone. We touched up above that. I think that was in the night session, and we've opened below it, retested, sort of made a minor lower high just below 59.60. And that's where we sort of broken up. You can see that that trend line going up. We've broken down through that, retested the highs, and then that's become a lower high, breaking out of that expansion move. And that's pretty much, the only reason I put those lines through there going across the lows or the highs, for a downtrend, the lows for an uptrend, is just to get an idea, is it continuing on higher, or can we expect some sort of corrective move? And that's what we've got there. You can see it's busted through. Then we made that minor lower high, only just. A lot of the time the indices do retest a zone rather than make a clear lower high, which you can see here. So rather than just making a lower high, which is quite a bit lower, where it's fairly clear, they actually get so close to retesting, sometimes wash it out, but you're more likely than not to be right up near the previous high, which happened, and it's got a series of little minor lower highs and then just capitulation. That was yesterday, which really, it really closed below, around those lows anyway. We had a little bounce into the close, but only a few points, and then you can see that type of price action last night, really, when it opened, when I was looking at it before the open today, you just knew that I was going to get another leg down, which we got. I thought it might have washed out below first, then popped back up and then rolled over from there, but it didn't. It's pretty much washed out the highs, just washed out a few of these highs, probably dragged a few people in like it does, and touched on that 59.16 and then just rolled over from there. So from that 30-minute chart, that does look a bit, if you're looking at this price action, it doesn't look too great, but just remembering that this is the clear anchor on a daily chart. I think it's 57.93, but we'll go and have a look at the daily. This move, what we're seeing now, is really just a correction of this leg up. Whether it's anything more significant, we'll have to take a look at. We'll look at the dailies in a second, but there's a clear level, I think it's 57.93. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, say 57.93. So it's that little higher low just in here. So if we just drill out there, you can see that higher low there. Until that breaks, this is what it sort of gets me at the moment. We've made that essentially a double top. We've just popped through the highs, only by a few points, really 10 or 15 points. Just popped through the recent highs, which were back in, what was that, sometime in April, start of April. You can see it's just popped through that minor, and it's had a bit of a correction. So we may be that this overall move up is getting a bit running out of steam as we get up towards that 6,000 mark. And if you can go way back, there you go. So that 6,000 is from way back in March 2015. So it's really getting up to a key major area. We may be just running out of steam as we get up there, but we'll just have to see. Still, the daily is holding higher lows, so you've got to go with the flow. You can see you've got a high low, major high low at 55.96, so 56 even, say. Another inside high low at around 56.82. So it's all building still. We've got those MAs still pointing up. It's just this final move here with just that pop through and that deep correction. We'll just have to see if we can hold another high low, and that's going to take us up and through to at least wash out 6,000 or retest 6,000. So if that's the case, we've still got 100 and something points up our sleeve. But really, this trend is not rolling over until we get a break of this 57.92. So still something just to keep an eye on, and especially when markets acting like they are, they sell off pretty hard. Especially the ASX, it seems to be that we're a lot less aggressive than a lot of other markets, especially the S&P. So we go up, we take baby steps going up, and we come down and pretty much topple over. So when it comes down hard and fast, and you can see, what we saw is a few days up. It's 3 days, and we've given up half of that already. So, but still, we're looking for maybe a zone just to start building that high low. Buyers starting to step in and give it another nudge and push up and through, continuation higher to 6,000. See if we can target 6,000. If not, the key level to keep an eye on is at 57.92. What's everyone else's thought? Yeah, see what Davin just wrote there, and he's referencing these sorts of moves here, when you get the bottom feeders, I guess, starting to jump in here, things are going, and it has another legs, and it just nails them, just really squeezes them back out of the market. Then we can turn and build that high low and then go up from there. But yet to be seen yet. We'll just see how it goes the rest of the day, see if we can get brought up into the close and start building overnight. Just bear with me 1 second there, guys. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. A little bit of an interruption there. So, what I was saying, yeah, like Davin was saying, these, and you can see this in a lot of stocks. When you get that nice action leg higher, and you get a reaction off a key level, whether major resistance level or the reverse for, it's selling down into a level, nice support. You get that reaction, and then it continues. So it tends to do it in two stages. If you can see, that's that one stage where it breaks a key anchor level, what we call it, which is around that 59.16. It broke that yesterday, and you can see that capitulated. And then you get this type of price action. It starts getting, you're soaking up those buys. They're starting to jump in, a bit of preemptive move, bit of anticipation, bit of bottom feeding, and then just nails them. And you can see that even though it was oversold, which we've mentioned before, even in an oversold market doesn't mean it's going to kick on higher. But then that second move, this move today is going to be nailing a few people. So we'll just have to see from here whether it can just build. Oh, let's just draw it up. What I'd ideally like to see is, that's probably a bit. Let's pick a nicer colour. Black. Yeah, I'd like to see. Come on, Brady. Not very good with my hands at the moment. There you go. Bit of a move up, maybe move down, a bit of a washout action, and then start to build for that leg higher and build the higher lows and see if we can actually do that. All right, so it's all good to see if we can. Buyers are happy to step in down here, maybe retest those lows, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. Alrighty, so that's the ASX. What does everyone else view on the ASX, or what's happening there? But basically, to me, we're seeing a contraction of that leg up. Have to see how this plays out. There's still room to move on the downside, so we've got it down at 57.95. Say, what are we now? So it's just under 100 points away, about 90 points thereabouts. So it can still move down. It may retest this level here, just this 58.30, which it broke previously. It may retest there, still holding a higher low, and then go again. But as you see, these moves through the highs are not hard. Where you got this move here, double bottom just in here, nice little support zone. That's triggered a nice strong move up to 59.50. So we'll just see how that goes. Now let's take a look at AHG. We'll take a look at that in a minute. We'll get on to. I just want to take a look at the S&P because this is something we've been looking at it just for a little while. We'll look at the price action on this because let's just start off on just go to a daily actually. This is a market we know that there's a lot of sellers in. There's especially a lot of retail punters have been really selling into this, and everyone's trying to pick a high or pick a bottom. What is it about picking bottoms? You get stinky fingers. That's one of my favourite sayings. But anyway, when you're trying to pick a move, you can get washed out, and this is what can happen time and time again in the markets. And we do know that even though we're getting a bit extended up here on the daily charts, there's no reason why. If you look back here, at this stage we were overextended and still put on, say, from 52 up to nearly 50 points on the S&P, which is quite a good move. So even though you can be extended to the upside, there's no reason why it can't keep going. And this type of price action, this is a longer term daily chart. It's looking really strong. You've got this leg up. We've had contraction lower, and we've actually broken out of that contraction lower. So just be wary that for any bears out there that you could get caught if this S&P just kicks on higher from here. So it's looking really set up now, to be honest. You see this price action, we've extended lower. Contracted lower, built your lower high just in here at 23.90, just off those highs at 2400. Pushed down, built another lower high, retested, and then we just broken out. I think it was Monday, 24th. Yeah, was that Friday? No, that was Friday. Whatever it was. So 20. No, it's a long time ago. What am I talking about? Keep forgetting it's a daily chart. So on the 24th, broke up and through, and that's retested those highs. So now at 24. So now we're just looking to see, okay, is this going to be a double top? But if it was a double top, you'd expect a solid move off that highs, which spent the next few days just holding above that 23.77, those highs. So it's just retesting that. The longer it holds these highs, the more chance I think that it's going to pop up and really squeeze those short traders out, because there's enough of them to build up where if they've got to exit, there could be another leg high. If that's what they're looking at, then this market could really get squeezed and really kick on another, 30, 40, 50 points in the S&P, which is really going to drag our market higher. So I think the potential is really there, and there's no signs just yet, even though we've sold off for a couple of days. Again, it's just things come down a lot harder than they go up. So we could be really just setting up for another squeeze higher and really push some of those short positions out that have started to build up, especially on the S&P and potentially on the ASX as well. Probably this sort of washout here has probably brought in a few short sellers trying to anticipate a good sell-off. Bears always inclined to do that, but we'll see how that plays out. So anyone got any other views on that? Just see where the market is, still down 30 or so. Did you want to have a quick look at, I just want to, while we're at it, just go over some of these sectors. This is the financials, the XFJ, so this is a financial sector. You can see that's much like the S&P, so the ASX. Still holding high lows, that's still looking good. It's had a couple of solid days down, but this could easily hold at 68, hold another high low, and just, pretty much turn on a dime and start heading higher to push the market up through, the ASX 6,000 mark, or up to it to retest it at least. What's it? Consumer discretionary, you're getting up towards some highs, we're getting up towards a key level, around that 2260. Energy, still longer term, it's, we've had these contraction lower, had a push higher. We've contracted lower, so potentially we're holding a higher low at 91, and we're just getting to a crux of it now at 94, where it could be a lower high that could hold there and start heading down. So if you get a couple of down days on that sector, that's not looking so good, and we might get a deeper correction, but then your major level's way down here. So I think for now it's just something to keep an eye on. As financials we just looked at. Healthcare, it's pretty much clearly, it's getting a bit extended at the moment, but it's pretty much on the way up. Now, what is it? What I wanted to look at, that's pretty much the same. It's getting a bit extended where we are now on info tech. But the ones to look at, you can see this is materials. That's well and truly heading south. Got a lower high just in here at, 10,200. You can see that price action sort of built that minor lower high, pushed down, build that high low. It dragged a few people in as it's headed higher a bit, and then we just sold off from there, made another lower high. So that's definitely, as a short setup, that looks like a short setup. You've just broken through a key level at, say, 96. That was today. So we just have to check out where that goes. It could pull up short at 9,000. We might not be much left in it. Who knows? But at the moment, that sector's under the pump a bit. XMM, which is metals and mining, pretty much along the same lines, just broken through some key levels. Built a major lower high here at 31 and heading south at the moment. Resources is getting at the same type of setup. You can see that market's moved high to 35, built the lower high, and that's confirmed now, that lower high. So I would expect that to push through that 32.50 and just see where it ends up. It's getting a bit extended down here, so this one's, it could hold up here, we don't know yet, but just taking into account the other two sectors that are under the pump a bit. Now let's just go, what do we got? XJR, XUJ, that's on the way up, that's utilities. That's definitely on the way down. Telecommunications, so keep away from that one by the looks of it. Yeah, that's it. Look, it's getting extended to the downside. So that could be something. Just what we're trying to look for, I guess, by looking at the sectors, just getting an idea of where they are. Are we getting late to a move when things are heading high, and you get around this zone when things are hot? They're starting to get a bit extended. So if you start to buy into some of those stocks there, you could expect to come under the pump a bit. Or are we getting to that stage where it could potentially, this sector could start running or start finding a bid? So just keep an eye on some of these, into that sector anyway. It's worth a look. It's worth a heads up. So just drill down into some of the stocks within that sector just to see what they look like. This is gold. So gold is one that we've been watching, obviously. At the moment, we've had that, through 2014, 15, that market sort of held. It's built a big base, held a high low through 2015. This is on the weekly charts, by the way. And started pop. You got that little pop up, pull back, high low again. You got that extension through 2016 up to 57.50. Nice correction. So that's a nice little washout, and you can see the MAs are still up, still pointing higher. So now we just have to see whether we hold up here around that, was it 41? Because we've just popped out through the top at 40, so just nearly 5,000. We're pretty much at the crux now. I think this could be a higher low, and if we start popping up from here and build a higher low and then go and push up through 57.50, that could be quite nice into that sector. That's your minor or your small gold stocks. Or whether we just tip over from here and we start testing down towards this low, and that's a major lower high. So definitely one just to keep an eye on. So we've got our eyes on that one anyway. What else we got? XEC, merging companies. Yeah, look, at the moment, that could be potentially, it's pulling back at the moment. Maybe it's searching for a higher low, searching for a bit of a bid, but we'll find out. Last but not least, what's that? Industrials. It's getting a bit extended where we are by the looks of it. So anyway, that's just some sectors there. If you've got any questions, shoot them into the chat. Otherwise, we'll get going. We'll start off with any charts you want to look at, any stocks. We'll start off with Nando's. We'll look at AHG. How you going anyway? Doing all right, Nando? I'm just going to get some of my coffee into me. Well, this is one we've got, actually, CCP. It looks like it's got potential. We can just see this last little bit in here. Some little minor inside higher lows and some lower highs. So we're getting that point. If we can break up through 55, say 50, 1850, I think that's going to start attacking those. It's going to be a nice little push up to $20, which would be awesome. We'll see how you go. All right, AHG. AHG. What's the inside scoop on this one, Nando? They've got anything happening, or what's the news flow? Just a bit of negative news come through, which has been knocked on the head a bit. Okay. Can't see anything that stands out there. If there's anything you're expecting to do my cardio. I like that. That's it. Look, it's a good move. Do your cardio. You're sitting on the bike or on the runner. That's great. All right, this one here, to be honest, it's done a lot of nothing. It looks. I'm just on a weekly now. It's had that little push up to $5, but then potentially this area here is what I don't like. Breaker resource will do, Clement. Oh, I did it again. I do this every day, don't I? Let's just start that up again. Actually, this is one we've had. I was looking at in the past. There we go. Will, how are you, mate? Kay, how you doing? Web, we'll look at that. SUL. Alright, we've got this, we've got that. Now you can see it looks like it's done a fair bit of work just between that 350. It's made these higher highs, just popped out here again, then just busted up from the thing that sort of popped up, made a double top really through there, and then had this move down that washed out this low, but it's still in context to these lows just around 350. So it still really is a higher low, and it's shot up to 5, washed out the previous high. Thing is, it's come all the way straight back down again, really tested down towards that 350. So this to me looks like it is potential for a lower high, because if you've been buying it, you'd expecting that to run on, and with this little move up here, and that that pull all the way back down to 350 is not really a good sign, especially when it's followed by what looks like a lower high. Now, if that's a lower high, you'd expect potentially to attack that 350 and then really sell off through there. But again, this could easily, just as easily, if it holds a bit of a bid here around 375. So at the moment, we've got that, if you can see what I'm doing. So that's that move up, and it's come here and it's sort of rolled over. You can see it goes down, and if we start getting a bit of a bid come in and a high-low building, that's a major high-low. So I'd like to see a little inside high-low, which is this second little push lower, and that confirms the overall high-low, if that makes sense. And if that's the case, then we may be, we're putting more emphasis on higher prices, maybe push up towards that $5. We'll just see how that goes, but it could just as easily from here just start tanking and lower highs and really start putting the squeeze on all the way down to, what's that, $1.75 thereabouts. So I've got lines everywhere on that, but does that make sense? What we could be looking at. So it is, the daily is getting a bit extended to the downside, so there's a nice little chance that pressure that's pushing down is getting soaked up. So the buyers are maybe stepping in and starting to soak it up, but really it's a bit early to see, but we'll just see how that goes. And it's just this longer term action through here, which it spent a lot of time building for a move higher and didn't really get it. And that's really confirmed with this push down here. You can see that's, you got this leg up, pull back, inside lower high, but then it's inside higher low. So you sort of got this contraction in here, which is nice. Breakout. So that to me should have led to some higher prices. I got a little pop up, built the high low. So I would have expected this to push through the previous highs and continue on. If it's a nice strong market with a good news flow, everything's lining up, that would be great. The fact is it made that little double top and then washed out this low. So to me, it's starting to look a bit, it's, then you get that wash out of the highs and then a pullback. So it's getting a bit choppy, which is a bit conducive to a really uncertain market. So if this is going to be a lower high, I think anyone who's been trying to buy it thinking it's going to go up could potentially be squeezed out of this market, and we start to see, a push down or a major high or low, but we'll just see how it plays out. That's my major saying. You see how it plays out. Now, what about Clement was BRB. Looks good. That's the weekly too. That's that weekly chart. This is what you like to see. Again, Clement's come up with the goods. It's a small one, 18 grand. Yep, we'll get into those. Only small. Let's go down to the daily. But what looks good and what you can all see, I guess, is we should be able to just notice you get these high lows, and that's what we work off. We like to see that. That means every pullback's been met with some nice buying. People are willing to step up to the plate a bit higher, and just really jump into that market. So my phone's probably going to go off in a second. So they're willing to just jump into that market at a high price, and they're willing to pay that, pay a bit extra to be in the stock. So that's what we like to see. You can see this move through here. It's pushed up, failed to get to the highs with this little move up, got sold back down, but built that high low in here and then really accelerated. That move is beautiful. Obviously, probably in the back of the news. What date's it? I'm just going to find it. End of 2016. Okay, nice accelerated move here. And then generally, like we say, that sort of moves is going to be, whether it's a good stock or bad stock or whatever, is going to be met with a bit of selling. You'd expect, well, it's a higher probability that could do, purely because people want to take profits and lock it in. And that's come all the way back down, but then you built another high low at 30, which is really nice. You can see that high low through here at 30. It started to push up again, and we're getting what looks like could be, you can see this is a lower high in context to that 75, which is the same type of thing as what we potentially saw here. So if this is going to be another bid zone at around 45, that could lead to another strong move higher. Maybe not like that, but it's got all the makings. And if we just draw it up on a chart quickly, you can see that quite clear. And you've got this is probably just a touch early, but we've got high low in here, a high low in here around 30, then it's built up at around 46 thereabouts. Just pop it up. If we get this little push up through here and we start retesting up towards that 65 zone, to me that's starting to break out of contraction. We could get a bit of acceleration higher, which would be nice. And from there, if you get that break up, I'd like to see that little pullback, build the high lows where we can work a nice little entry off, and then see if we can get that push up towards 77 and above. But it definitely looks nice. So Just keep an eye on that one, Clement. Web, okay, we'll get into web now. This is something we've had in the past too, and just have to go back a chart. It's the same. Look, definitely that's moving. You know, you've got this nice. It spent a lot of time doing some groundwork around basically 2014, and through most of half of 2015 as well. You can see it's holding high lows, but it was inside to that $5 mark. And when we got that push out, you got that nice little pullback, which met with solid buying, that accelerated higher. Maybe a bit harder to see if I can just drill in on that. Basically, this candle here, you'll see that clearly. So that, you know, popped up, made another high low, and then you started getting acceleration. That's if we can, we'll draw that up. So that's the high we're sort of interested in there. You got these high lows, which is always nice, high lows, but that's the level we're going to come into. So at this stage right here, it hasn't broken it. As soon as you break it, bit of a pullback, and that's met with some nice strong buying. And then here you've got another pullback, building a high low, and these people probably chasing it up here are the ones that missed maybe in here or even a bit earlier as they didn't notice these high lows. They were looking for more confirmation, but either way, you know, they still made some money on it anyway. So that's what, you know, tends to happen. You get that pullback. People are expecting a deep pullback, potentially a lot lower to $3 or thereabouts. Maybe retest these lows. Didn't happen. Maybe missed this move, and they started to chase it up here. And we've got that nice push up to 1250 thereabouts. Pullback, but the thing is, it's still holding higher lows, all within context to that 1250 mark. That high just in here. We're still getting those. Let's just draw it up a bit bigger. It's kind of pointless. Let's. Just a little bit more. Let's just draw that part up there. All right, so we've got, that's the level we've got interest at. It's 1225. That's the one that's going to be constrained, but people will be a bit tentative to buy it up there. Thing is, you still got higher lows working, which is nice. Okay, so you've got this little level where if look, it's, to me, it could be a nice little buy. You get it through, was it 11.75 thereabouts? If you bought it just on a break, you know where your risk is, down at 11, for instance. You're not risking a hell of a lot. You can position adjust as well, but you might find that it just pops up to, so you've got a bit of resistance ahead here if you're going to buy it on that little breakout. It could easily break it out and it could potentially just wash out those highs. You pop up and then roll over from there and take out 11. But definitely that is holding higher lows. It's still got some nice structure to it. I just would like a little bit of confirmation. I would ideally, the way I look at it, with these types of setups here, I like to have just broken out of contraction. As in that's, so, well, let's just draw that a bit better. We've spoken about that before. That's what I'm talking about. You got the high, you know, that type of contractive action there. Maybe it's built here, then it pops out. That's what I like to see. And then look for that type of structure. You know, where you get this type of thing and then it goes through the highs, because then that's going to drag and you're holding those high lows where it's confirmation that the buyers are starting to win when you get out of that contraction, and then you're just looking for your entry. That's what I love to see, whereas this one's still within that, and it's, you know, so maybe it hasn't got a lot of room to move. Hope that makes sense, Kate. What's next? BRB. Keeping me honest today, guys. That's another good one. Breaker resources. Is that what we just did? No. Yeah, sorry. That's the one we just did. So that's, yeah, it's got good potential on that one. We talked about that, sorry. Hang in there, Will. Did you have something, Will? SUL. Name for SUL, yep. Alright, let's get into that. SUL's, you know, spent a lot of time, let's go to a weekly. You spent a lot of time doing nothing, to be perfectly honest. It's probably got a bit of work to do just by assessing that price action. You know, it takes a long time to push up. So the ranges are quite wide. Where do I want to go with my little tool? So I draw it up on the weekly because that's, the dailies looks choppier to me, but the weekly is the one that's interest. So, really just looking for an entry. I would be looking for an entry from a weekly chart. Maybe we can take it from that low, I guess. That's probably a bit better. So it is holding higher lows. You can see that, just wash out that high. So it tends to do it a bit. So that's the previous high, washes it out, capitulate all the way back down. All right, then we had that little push up, took out, and that was the key level for this move down. That's what we always want to look for, because you don't know if that's going to push down, pull back up. You start buying it because it's okay. It's down on its lows, but then it rolls over. So you want to look for it to break its anchors first before you start really looking for your entries. Pushed up here, which is quite nice. Pull back, made a higher low, and then you got that washout again. Washout of the previous high, which it did back here, and then capitulated. And it's really just took out the lows, but it's still holding trend, which is quite nice. So buyers are stepping in, so it's washed out the highs, and then just pretty much turned around and washed out those lows, that high low, but held that support. Okay, so we've touched down here as well. Yeah, so this is the weekly here. Just to take a step back, just to see, just so you get an idea of. But if we try to look, really, this is showing signs on a weekly of breaking out of that contraction potentially. So it is holding higher lows. So really, my bias, if I was looking at this and the way I would assess it, I'm trying to find the picture that I think looks nice, and then try to match up the lower time frames. If the weekly's heading high, and then you've got your dailies that are setting up, and you get your entry, then fine. But if the daily looks a bit choppy, which you're going to see that type of price action, it is choppy. What does the weekly look like? And the week doesn't look too bad. We're on a low down here, so potentially we're getting extended to the downside. So it could be searching for a few buys. If the market pushes down, a few buyers might start to step in here on the weekly basis. We've got a couple of levels on the daily. It's just up around that 550 mark. It may wash it out, so you just got to be careful of that, because it's got a habit of moving back to this trend line, which you could easily use, pop through those lows, even retest down here, and then buyers start jumping in, and then probably pop it down to your daily chart just to see what's happening. Because even if you're trading between this low somewhere, for a run up to those highs, that's a good little return. Risk reward could be still worthwhile. So if we just go down a chart to the dailies, I think that was a level just through there, wasn't it? So 870. Yeah, it's about 870. So just bear in mind that the weekly we would be biased up. Okay, so we're biased up. We're just really got to find a spot to buy, if that makes sense. I think that's the level we just. It's above $11, isn't it? So that's that high. So you're still holding those little high lows. It's putting pressure. And we've got it could be a reason that it could be a nice little setup here. And it is probably starting to find some buyers around that 940 mark. But from here, if that's going to be our zone where we want to buy, and you can see here the market's been hovering around that oversold zone, oversold mark. So it's finding some buyers in here, and there's probably a few ducks that are lining up. We know that we could be biased up on our weekly, but we're just searching for a zone to potentially look for a setup. Could be an ideal zone there, Will. Looking at a daily, and even if it doesn't play out on the weekly or break through those highs or anything like that, you still got, even if it just pushes up back up to those highs, like I said, we're biased up, so it could easily just retest those highs, not hold a lower high, but you still got room to move. You've got a lot of room to move, really. So what you'd probably be looking at here, if you can draw that up, that's that move down. Let's just draw that up differently. So from that high there, we've moved down. We want to see around that support zone through here at 940. Just extend that. I'll draw it better. I can do better than that. We want to see it lift off. So we're just starting to probably get that perk up towards that 990 mark. And then maybe get buy, step in at higher prices. And we always want to see that. And just see if we can see that type of price action where it spends a bit of time chopping around at higher prices. It starts to find equilibrium just at slightly higher prices. building that higher low, and then that could, then you know where your risk could easily be. It can be just below the high low or below 940, for instance, because that's a double bottom as well. So there's a few things, nice, powerful setups. People are, buyers are getting dragged into the market. They're willing to step in at higher prices. They're happy. Psychology thinks there's a lot more people thinking it's going up than down. And then we head our way back up to about 11 or at least 11, somewhere 10.50. But either way, you're going to have something up your sleeve where if you're wrong, it builds that lower high. You've got room to move. Wiggle room, I guess, where you're not going to get smacked on the trade. But still, that's not too bad. What else did we have? BAB, QBE, SUL. So still there's but if you just want to take one step back there, guys, see this price action through here. No, this is a monthly chart, or you just drop it down to the weekly. I guess what you just try to get in the habit of. I have no idea what this company does, what they retail, okay, what they do, how they've been going, what's happening. Don't forget, if you look at this, we'll draw this up. This is why you need to, it's really important where you're trying to find the zones where things could happen. But then you're looking for your setup, and our setups are basically higher lows for a buy or lower highs for a sell. Just remember that you try to assess it. Is this practical? This could be a buy. Yes. Okay. Then what do you want to see? I want to see this, a higher low build for a punch up through 11. But could it be a potential sell as well? Working it from a sell side, just looking at it from the flip side of the coin, I guess. You've got the high up here. There's no reason why it's washed out those highs. It's come back down and washed out this low down to 8. It's had another go at it. Couldn't get it is building higher lows, but this could just as easily be a nice little short, and it's starting to build for a short position. Okay, so that's why even if I'm not a big fan of just sitting on the bid, which means by putting the buy limit order. Okay, a lot of people just go 950, I'll put a buy limit. If it gets hit, great, because I think it's going to go up. But there's no confirmation there. It could just as easily, that's that leg down here, pop back up and then shoot straight down. So if you're sitting on the bid, you can get smashed and you really don't have confirmation at that stage. Or if you're going to sit on the bid here, your stop may be way too far away. It may have to be all the way down at 750. So does that make sense, what I'm saying there? If you just flick it over and look at it, try to get an idea of this. Could this be a potential short? Yeah, it could. What would I be looking for? I'd essentially, if this was a short, I want to see that lower high. And this, don't forget, this is a weekly, but I just want to do this. So that's the move down. Even if that, that's it. Well, whatever the price action is there. If it pops down through this support zone, and then you get that market pop back up, that's probably going to drag in buyers, especially if it doesn't push down. If it touches on 9, for instance, 9's just through here, touches on 9 and then pops back up, you probably find that we'll drag in a few buyers. Go, oh look, it's looking good, but that could easily be a lower high that's just building. It's just washed out a few traders. It's jumped back in, and then the pressure from the sellers has come back in, building the lower high at 10, and then you'd just want to be, okay, I'll be exiting if I was long, because this could easily push all the way down to $7. Does that make sense there? So just getting an idea, and if that doesn't play out, so be it. If it plays out for the long side and you get the nice little long setup, then okay, we're biased up. I'm seeing that could be a nice little bottom there that could lead to higher prices, but we've got to see that setup. You can always be wrong, and that's why the setup is the important thing. If it doesn't play out, you're wrong. All right, what else do we have there? QBE. Yeah, not too bad. That's a weekly. Just want to step it back a chart. All right. I know this might seem silly, but this is a monthly chart we've got here. Just trying to build the picture. Always good to build a picture, because there's I might trade on the daily time frame or lower sometimes, but I'm not the longer term trader. There is a lot of longer term traders out there. They trade off the weeklies or monthlies. I know a guy that trades off those consistently doesn't even look at a daily chart half the time. So it's good to see what the longer term charts are doing also. So looking at that, you've had a nice strong move up. You know, the 35 bucks, lower highs, lower lows, working all the way back down. It's pushed down into that $10 mark. Tried to go again, as you know, we've got up, down here. Tried to go again, couldn't do it. Has to make a deeper correction, which it did. Pushed down again, and then had a few goes at it. You know, that $10. So the $10 is buyers stepping in there. Okay, it's had to retreat a bit, make another lower high. So that is your head and shoulders there, I'm guessing. You know, if you look at that sort of stuff. It's gone down, and it's getting soaked up again. You've got that washout. Then the market's popped back up again. So it's starting to form some really solid, you know, solid buyers stepping in there. But for me, the confirmation is going to come if we get that push up through here, you know, up through 15. So if that's the case and we get that push up through 15, I'd like to see a bit of a pullback and build that high low. Again, always looking for that high low. I'm always willing to miss it. If this thing just goes, okay, so be it. Doesn't matter. And don't forget this is on the monthly chart, so we'll take a bit of a look lower as well. But on the monthly, you can see that there is a lot of buyers been stepping over for quite a long time, since 2012, stepping in and soaking up at 10. We are well off 10 there, but we could still easily build that lower high and then bang straight down, if that makes sense. I mean, there's no reason why we can't do it just yet. We haven't got that set up, at least on the monthly. So now it's just dropping it down the charts just to see what the other price action looks like. Spend a good part of the year doing nothing between 12 and 13. Again, we've got that $10 mark, which is washed out a few times. So really, if it pops out the top side and starts attacking 15, then I'd be inclined to think this weekly chart's starting to pick up. You can see that back to the monthly. Sorry, it's even that monthly is getting a bit extended at here. So at the moment, to buy it, I would just be sitting there watching it at the moment. To be honest, this could roll over, and then just want to see how it reacts if it can build. So the daily's a bit extended up here around 13 as well. G'day, mate. Check AHO going strong. Good, will do. So QBE, yeah. So you can see that it's just consolidating most of 2017 between 12 and 13, but it's just been banging around there. It's a bit extended to the top side, which it's happened before. Got expanded, washed it out, and then rolled over. So whether we're going to do that again, and this is going to be a major, on the weekly basis, a lower high, yet to be known just yet. Like I said, I think the fact that the monthly actually doesn't look too bad, it's got a lot of work to do for me. Anyway, obviously, being a monthly chart, but dropping it down, still, the weekly probably got a bit of work to do. And then looking at the daily, well, okay, we're a bit extended up here, so I'll just be sitting on my hands, just watching this one for a little while. See what happens. QBL. Well, that's... Okay. So with context of the weekly, if you can see what I'm looking at, okay, don't worry too much about this action here. You got that, whether it's just opened here back in 2008, sold off down to, 1, had a massive run up to 30, all the way back down again. So all that profit. So that's on the news announcement that looks good. A couple of good news announcements. I don't know whether they do bauxite drilling announcements potentially, but they haven't come into anything just yet. You need to basically get a JORC resource. Once you get a JORC resource, you know that you've got it. It's all. Then you can start assessing a dollar value to it, what the mine's going to start producing. Then you go into production. You know, you got to build your mines, all that sort of stuff. And that's generally what happens, is that it goes up in the back of trying to define your resource, has a good run up, then gets sold off when they people just generally taking profit, and then because it's going to take a bit of time to build it up and start mining and go into production and all that sort of stuff. And that's probably what it could have done. Through here, I don't know. I'm just sort of hesitating to guess. But that weekly, if we just go, nice little, and just remember that's here, so it's a well lower than 30 mark. That little run up here, probably in the back of news again. Okay, that little spike up here, all the way back down, gave it all up again. But I think this is a high low. It may not be, actually. Lows at 88. Yeah, no, it's just pretty much down, right down on its knees again there. But that little spike up here, it's still lower highs than these previous ones. So, yeah, just be wary. But what could be happening? I guess the latest thing to keep an eye on is just what's happening here. Are we going to build that high low? So on a weekly basis, it's going to be a major high low in here around 2. If that's the case, it's just washed out 1.9. So I think for me, it's still got a lot of work to do. There's still a few things I want to see. I want to see a high low build before a potential buy and then push up through, say, 2.5 cents. And then if that's the case, then that all matches up. It's a nice high low on the weekly as well. Potential to really push up through 3 cents up and above that. Marijuana. That's always a good idea. So yeah, that's that could be what's running it up, hey? All right. So yeah, it looks like, I mean, it's coming into a zone where if that starts holding a higher low, it starts holding around that 1.8 to 2. Still, for me, a lot of work to do still before I would expect to jump in that, but it has got potential from where it is. And basically from your weekly charts, you've got that's going to be a nice little high low, and then get that push up through 3, and that's going to be strong because then you start looking for a move up to 6, 7, this previous high. If it gets through that, who knows? But yeah, it's you just want to see on that daily basis to start to hold that high low in here, or these levels start to hold rather than just to sell off and get, if we can get back to it. Rather than see the same thing as that spike higher and then just a big sell-off all the way back down to 1. So it's easily got the potential to push back down to 1 and just sit there for a long time. But we'll see. If it starts holding this level, that's what you want to see. Now, I think we've got through it all pretty much, have we? Oh, no, AHY. Let's take a look at that. So we'll ask one on the list there. Got a feeling I was just looking at this one. Oh, no, there was one more. I know Paul sent it in. It's on BAL, Bellamy's. Yep, and we'll take a look at that, finish off there. Okay, so that was it, wasn't it? That's not bad. This, I don't know what's happened there, but it's not nice. So it's gapped down. Was that? Do you know what happened there? That was back in July last year. Looks like revised earnings guidance, was it? Got belted 29%. Get rid of that. Alright. That was July. Let's just get up the chart. Yeah, okay, so that was it. It looks like revised guide obviously didn't do too well. People didn't expect that, so everyone's bought it up here. Got caught out, got smashed. It's a bit disappointing if that kind of thing happens to you. I mean, that's the thing about trading. I guess you never. Sorry, Nando. I just saw you. Didn't mean to smoke it. You can't if you're on the treadmill, mate. It's going to hurt. But yeah, so take into account what's happening here. It's starting. The good thing is, like we spoke about this before, it's holding those high lows, especially through here around that 135. Just pushed out through the highs. Accelerated up through that previous high around 167. Pull back. Buyers have stepped in, a bit of a flush out there, you can see, of 160 and still going. So that's going nicely. If I can't remember where you said you got into it. G'day. We're just about to knock it on the head. So if you got something, just put it up in the chat there. So you can see that one, it's still looking good. It's looking good. That's starting to get a bit extended up here for me, and you can just, in comparison to what's happened in the past. So really, if that's going to hold that trend, it could be pushing all the way up to 215 just to fill that gap in there and get this sort of run on. But if that's the case, just be wary. Only because of what's happened in the past, got hammered. So it is starting to lift off there. It's looking nice. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, it's a shame people getting caught out on that sort of stuff. but that's the way it goes, really. It's starting to pick up again. It's still looking good. They've obviously repairing. They're doing well. Still kicking back up. That's looking good. What was the last one on Bellamy's? Just quickly on... we had this one somewhere around this little push up here. So we got lucky. We got stopped out of this. And I guess that's a good example of why it's always nice to have some stops in place. Hard stops too, because whether you like it or not, there's times you're going to get chipped out. It's going to be a bugger, but there's going to be times it's going to save your skin too. And that's pretty much what's happened. I think on this move down, we got stopped out here somewhere, booked a gain, and then it got hammered later on. So Paul was asking about Bellamy's and what I'm seeing just here. Now, we all know that that's been belted. If we go into a weekly just to see what's happened, that's a good move up to 1650, pull back, built a high low, push up, made a major lower high at 15, and then you can see that's something there in China as well with their milk and I think things like that. They got belted down there, unless that's what you're talking about. Yeah, belted down there, and it's been holding. It seems to have been holding. It's starting to work its way off 4. Whether this is just a reaction off 4, bargain hunting, we don't know just yet. And whether this is going to push back up and build that lower high and then go again to start attacking through 4 down to lower levels, we don't know. That's where it is good to know the fundamentals and how they're working. Obviously, the issues they're sorted out those issues that occurred, which I think Paul said they may have. I mean, I don't follow those fundamentals much, but if that's the case, then it's a good area to buy. It's just what's happening in the latest price action. That's not it. And it's really, if we just step it back a bit. It's just this latest price action. When it's getting a bit extended up here, I would expect maybe, if you were thinking about buying this, let's draw it up. Bellamy. So we can see, you can see it's just got a bit extend up here, got a bit extended, you had a bit of a pullback, but built that high low, and that's what we want to see. High low, really off a double bottom, which again is nice. That it's pushing up through those, it's about 550. And that was the initial reaction after a big solid move down, strong move down. That's that one when you see a couple of days up where people are bargain hunting, they get absolutely reamed, if I can say that. They got whitewashed when the market's open way down here, got absolutely squeezed out of that market. And that's that second leg down where it just really nails people. Then you've got to push up, and that's where it starts to, you can see that the selling's come out of the market here when it starts retesting the lows and starts working back up off it. So that's nice. It's just this last move up, started to get a bit extended up here. So ideally, it's just broken through that high there. I'd ideally like to see it maybe pull back and then start to find a bid and build that high low, maybe around that 5 mark or wherever. Build that high low and then start to get that acceleration higher back up, and then we might start taking up towards 7. Big effort to start filling that too quickly. That big red candle back up to 12. I think it's got a lot of work ahead of it to get up there, but if we can just get a bit of back and fill in there, or a bit of a pullback, and start holding a high low, maybe after that little washout move, but that washout I don't expect it to be down at 375, more around 5. Wash there, and then people start to jump back in again. That's confirming some higher lows, and then buy on the way up rather than buying when it's extended. All right, so that's probably it for me on that one, I'm guessing. If there's anything else, guys, just chuck it in quickly. Otherwise, we'll call it a day there. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I've still got coffee left, so after now it's going to be freezing cold. So yeah, thanks for joining me. We will be back in on, this market's still holding the lows, 31. We'll be back in on Monday at 12:30. And then just remember, we've got Tuesday night was a bit of an extra one at 7 o'clock. You should get we'll put up a notice through, our app. So just keep an eye out if you feel like joining in. We'll record it anyway, so it'll be on our YouTube channel to review later on. But it will be interactive, so we'll be answering a few questions in there as well. Don't know exactly how long we'll be going for. It could be an hour, could be the way Davin and I can talk, especially myself. It could be a couple of hours. So yeah, feel free to join in that. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday, and if not, we'll see you Thursday again. But thanks for joining us, guys. Speak to you soon.